Welcome to Verified Live. I'm Lewis Vaughan-Jones. We're going to start in the US, in New York, the latest on the Donald Trump trial. Now, just to explain how we're covering this is the live feed of the courthouse. This is clearly not inside the courtroom itself. No cameras, no live video feed allowed in the courtroom itself. Sometimes there is in the US, not in this trial. So we do have pictures because there is a stills photographer inside. So this is just a little earlier on. Donald Trump in court, and he's right now hearing from the prosecution who are outlining the basis of their case, this hush money payments to the porn star Stormy Daniels and the alleged falsifying of records afterwards. Now, we'll get a little more detail from our correspondent who's outside the court there about what's been happening in a moment. First, though, as has become traditional, Donald Trump, when he enters court, often speaks to the cameras downstairs. Let's take a listen.
I just want to say before we begin, these are all Biden trials. This is done as election interference. Everybody knows it. I'm here instead of being able to be in Pennsylvania and Georgia and lots of other places campaigning. And it's very unfair. Fortunately, the poll numbers are very good. They've been going up because people understand what's going on. This is a witch hunt, and it's a shame. And it comes out of Washington. It's in coordination with Washington, everything, including the DA's office. It's in coordination with Washington. I just want people to understand that this is done for purposes of hurting the opponent of the worst president in the history of our country.
Well, just in the last hour or so, I spoke to Nikki Beaver, National Political Director of the National Federation of Republican Women. Let's take a listen.
It's having a huge impact, and it's having the opposite impact that the Democrats, I think, intended for it to have. The American people are not fooled by this witch hunt. This is a trial that should have happened years ago, and we see through his political opponents. I mean, President Trump's political opponents are persecuting him in a trial while he's trying to run for president. They know they can't win at the ballot box, so they are doing everything they can to stop him. Well, as the polls show, his numbers go up every time they do this. And it's even getting people who weren't going to vote for him in the beginning because they see that this is all politics. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's a witch hunt. Like I said, most of these charges that they're bringing against him are well outside of the statute of limitations and happened years ago, long before he was president, when he was a civilian. And, you know, it would be nice to say that the other side is clean and they haven't broken any laws, but this is the same group that spied on Trump illegally during his 2016 campaign, and they're just they're grasping at straws. They are trying to do everything they can because they know that the Biden administration has run our country into the ground, and there is no winning at the ballot box in November 2024 unless they think they can try to get Trump on some criminal charges. But I don't believe any of those will stick, and I don't think that will hurt him at the ballot box either.
The views there of Nikki Beaver, illustrating the overlap between the political and the judicial in this case, as you'd expect. Right, let's cross live to New York now. Our correspondent, Nea Tek, is there. Neda, bring us right up to speed with what's been happening in court.
Well, we are now right into opening statements here in Donald Trump's first criminal trial. It starts off with the prosecution. They say they'll need about 40 minutes all up. And so far, what we've heard from them is a presentation to the jury of first the big picture, saying this is about a criminal conspiracy and a cover-up. They say the criminal conspiracy was when Donald Trump attempted to influence the 2016 election by directing a payment to the former adult film star Stormy Daniels, $130,000, to stop her from going public about an extramarital affair. Then they say that he falsified his business records and recorded those as legal fees over and over and over again. Remember, Donald Trump is facing 34 counts of first-degree falsifying business records. So those 34 counts relate to the times that prosecutors allege he lied on business ledgers and business records. They also quoted directly from that infamous Access Hollywood tape in which Donald Trump is heard bragging about grabbing women by the genitals, saying he can do it simply because he's famous. And what prosecutors are saying to jurors is that that sent Donald Trump's campaign into damage control mode. They felt that on the heels of that tape, it could have been devastating for his campaign to have any further extramarital affairs, particularly one with a former porn star, be made public. So this is where we are at. Prosecutors outlining their case. We'll then hear from Donald Trump's lawyers, their opening statements. They say they'll need about 25 minutes to lay out their case to the jury.
Neda, thank you so much for that. And Neda keeping across events for us there in New York. We've got a team inside that courtroom as well. Want to speak now, though, try and get a bit of analysis about what's happening. We can speak to former US Attorney Rachel Polos. Thank you very much for coming on the programme.
Good morning. Thank you.
So what do you make of what we've heard from the prosecution in just the last half an hour or so?
Well, it's clear that this case is about Donald Trump's intent. Making hush money payments is not a crime. Lying to your spouse, as wicked as that is not a federal crime or even a state crime in the United States. But Alvin Bragg is essentially alleging that Donald Trump made these hush money payments to cover up news of his affairs to corrupt the 2016 presidential election in the United States. That's a bold claim.
And what do you make of the framing? I suppose in one sense, these are details that were familiar to us already, but we've heard in the build-up to hearing from these two sides, the prosecution first that we're hearing right now, and then we'll hear the defence, that they're so important in cases like this for framing, for guiding the jury about what will happen. Do you go along with that it's absolutely crucial for both sides that they clearly get their point across at this moment?
Yes, I do. An opening statement is not an argument because no evidence has been admitted yet. But it is a chance for both the prosecutor and the defense lawyer to present a roadmap to the jury and to the world that is obviously watching this trial of what they can expect, what the theme of the case will be, who the major witnesses will be at trial, what the major evidence will show, and how they expect to prove their case, in this case, beyond a reasonable doubt, since it's a criminal trial.
And just map out for us then what we can expect now. We're going to hear a little bit more from the prosecution. Then what?
Well, then the defense will have a chance to present their side of the story. And at that point, the first witness will be called. And we've been given news that the first witness is the former publisher of the National Enquirer, who was involved in this alleged plot to cover up stories about Donald Trump's extramarital affairs.
And then is it a succession of different witnesses? Do we know the names in advance? How far in advance? Do we know, if at all? What is the process that we can expect over the next few days?
Typically, the prosecution would present a witness list, and not only the defense, but any member of the public could have access to that to understand who would be testifying in what order. In this case, Alvin Bragg has claimed for various reasons, including because of the former president's social media posts, that he does not want to make known the names or identities of his witnesses in advance. So much of this trial, including the order and names of the witnesses and even the theory of the case, is still to be revealed.
Rachel, it's absolutely fascinating to get your analysis and thoughts. Thank you very much for coming on the programme. Thank you.
Thank you.